Welcome to Tips and Tricks with Curve4. This is Pat Harold of Chromix with some ideas for how you can make the most of Curve4 software. Let's look at more features in the Blend tool. The Blend tool is an extra module in Curve4 that offers a lot of useful functions that can make your life easier. It's a great place to do any of your catch-all measuring that is outside the need for calibrating or verifying. The measuring module in Curve4 is so easy to use, I think you'll find you can use Blend to measure profiling targets, control strips, or any other targets you might want to measure. Any measurements you take are automatically saved. You can arrange them in folders to keep things organized. CMYK only, of course. Curve does not handle RGB measuring. We have been offering virtual press run in several previous versions of Curve. The idea is that once you get your output values that plug into your RIP, at the same time we can curve the measurement files for the profiling target you had on the same press sheet. And you can skip having to do a follow-up print run of the corrected result. All very good. And it's always a good practice to average multiple targets from throughout the run to get a good representation of the entire run. But before, you never had a way to average those target measurements from across the press run. So here's where you can apply the curves from a calibration run to this set of averaged profiling targets that you've been measuring in Blend. Now you can also do this the other way around. You can measure your targets here in Blend, save out a Blend document, and then when you're in Calibrate, measuring your P2Ps and getting your control points for the RIP. Well, you can take the next step and go to VPR, and you can have your whole library of Blend documents that come up in this list. So you can grab that average of these profiling targets. Verify. Since you're now doing all your measurements in Curve4 here, with any measurement you've done, you can just click a button and it flips you over to the Verify module so you can see how this stacks up with grayscale, targeted, or color space. If you're interested in creating your own references, what we call color aims, to compare against in Curve, the file has to pass targeted or color space. So this business of measuring, blending, verifying is a good routine to know. Remap White uses a new procedure in the industry. It's called SCCA, Substrate Corrected Colorimetric Aims. Remap White allows you to take any measurement, edit the white point, and have all the data points be relative to this new white point. Then you can save out this new measurement and build a new profile. You just need a measurement, or really, you don't even need that if you have a profile, because Blend will take a CMYK profile you give it and create its own measurement from the profile. If everything in your workflow is going great, but you're just changing or adding a new paper with a slightly different white, this is a quick and accurate way to adjust the measurements to a new paper white and build a new profile from there. Without even having to print anything on the new paper, you just need the lab values of the new paper white to plug in here. Naturally, this will not work so well if you're changing to a radically different paper stock. Remap Black. Similar to Remap White, the Remap Black feature will allow you to change the black point and have the measurements be relative to that new black point. You can choose absolute or relative. Making a relative black point is very handy for correcting profiles of matte or uncoated paper. These papers always seem to be rather flat, low contrast, even when measured properly. For years at Chromix, we've used polarizing filters in our measurements to compensate for this when making profiles. Well, if you can't afford a Barbieri LFP, this is a way of doing the same thing in the software. There's a whole section on this on page 95 of the manual, so check it out. Don Hutchison also goes into this in detail in another Curve4 YouTube video about the many new features. So far, I'm mainly talking about measurements. Curve4 will take any CMYK device profile. It doesn't matter what software made the profile. A Blend will automatically take an imported profile and create a virtual TC1617 target from the profile. Then you can alter the white point of this virtual measurement data in the blend tool or save it out as whatever kind of profiling target you like. The TC1617 is actually a good choice for a CMYK profiling target. It has all the colors of the IT8 target that has been used for years, plus a large mix of neutrals to fill out a good coverage of patches. You can export in MXF or CXF or text format into whatever profile creation software you use. Okay, so now you have an idea what all these features do. Next video, let's take a practical look at how all this can help you in your everyday work around the press room.